Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, February 16th at 12:33 p.m. Will the House please come to order? We are currently in the middle of debate on House Bill 81. And the question is, shall the report of the Committee on General Housing and Military Affairs be amended as recommended by the member from St. Johnsbury? Are you ready for the question? Member from St. Johnsbury, Representative Beck. Nope, member, you're muted.
Yeah, I was. You're right. Madam Speaker, I was just trying to make sure I got a hand up, but it looks like the member from Berry City has his hand up as well. And since I spoke last before we went on break, I'd yield to him his comments first.
Member from Berry City, Representative Waltz.
My thanks to the member from St. Johnsbury. Just before we broke for caucus, you asked for the results of the vote. I gave that to you, but we didn't go over the reasoning behind that vote. And so I'd like to address that now. First of all, our thanks to the member from St. Johnsbury. He faced, let's say, a robust discussion in committee, and he did a very good job with that. He handled that very well. So our thanks to him. The vote was 8-3-0 to find the amendment unfavorable. And as I said, there was a robust and ongoing discussion, but I think I will highlight 3 reasons for that vote. Number one is that to include household income in the process of negotiating public employee contracts is a fundamental change to the way things have been done. And so one thing the committee felt is that because this is such a fundamental change, this is a concept that would need to be discussed in greater depth and not just quickly glossed over and passed and included in this bill. The second reason are the practical challenges of determining and managing household income. We've heard from Ways and Means that not everybody fills out the household income tax form. And so there is a question of definition, spouse, domestic partner, children, roommates. First of all, who does that include for household income? And perhaps even thornier is how the commission and local school boards would be able to get that information specifically for their employees and who would be managing that information and how it would be managed. So we see that as a significant problem in the practical application of that idea. And thirdly, and probably more importantly, what we are proposing in H81 is actually we are removing mandates. And we're trying to open up the process to more negotiation. And we think that adding a mandate, that the board would have to consider this, is going in the wrong direction. As a matter of fact, if the commission did want to do this under H81, they could do it. It's a matter of negotiations. And if the parties agree to negotiate this concept, they can. And so it's a strong feeling of the committee that we would rather leave it up to the negotiation process rather than telling the commission this is something they have to do. And so primarily for those 3 reasons, Madam Speaker, again, the committee found the amendment unfavorable 8-3-0.
The question is, shall the report of the Committee on General Housing and Military Affairs be amended as recommended by the member from St. Johnsbury? Are you ready for the question? Member from St. Johnsbury, Representative Beck.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. H81 is a big change. We're talking about breaking people up within health plan tiers by some metric. That in itself is a huge change. That's not something that was allowed in the previous agreement that was negotiated. It was not part of the previous agreement. So it's a big change. All this amendment says is that it puts some guardrails and says, listen, if the commission is going to decide to do this and to say that different people within a different plan, different tier are going to pay different amounts of money, that having them pay that based on household income is a thoughtful way of doing it. Household income is the best measurement we have of ability to pay in this state. It's exactly why we use it for about 70% of Vermonters that pay property. Could it be implemented? Yes, it could be implemented. It would be through rules making, deciding how that information that is held by the individual and the tax department would be made available to the district. But that could easily be done through rule making. And that's all this amendment is. It's just a to say, hey, if we're gonna make people pay different premium amounts based on different incomes, then let's use a measurement of income that thoughtfully gets at what the actual person's ability to pay is. And I would hope the body would support the amendment, and I ask that when the vote is taken, it be taken by roll.
Will the clerk please clear the hands? The member from St. Johnsbury moves that when the vote be taken, it be taken by roll. Is the member sustained? The member is sustained. When the vote is taken, it will be taken by roll. Will the clerk please clear the hands? The question is, shall the report of the Committee on General Housing and Military Affairs be amended as recommended by the member from St. Johnsbury? Member from Waterbury, Representative Stevens.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just a couple of points of clarifications. The idea of negotiating different levels based on whether a person is licensed or non-licensed, which is the key distinction here. Teachers are licensed, superintendents are licensed, and we're actually exempting them, the superintendents in this bill, from these from this law. But the fact of negotiating for this lower paid sector of our school employees is something that actually did happen in the first round of negotiations. Act 11, which for those of us who were here was put forward and put through during a May to June timeframe back when we were in the building infrequently, and this bill wasn't really reviewed as deeply as this particular bill, in fact, was. So it's the notion was put in session law. And so in the first round of negotiations, the lower paid unlicensed employees were had their cost share premiums negotiated at a different level. The default was that it would go back to 80-20 for the following negotiations. And this bill is putting this back on the table of where it can be negotiated. The other thing to remember is that because this separation of health insurance negotiations has been dissociated from the rest of employer-employee negotiations, just a reminder that is unique in our public sector law. And in all of the other public sector law, there are allowances for negotiations to have different cost shares based on where you sit on a pay scale. And so this is not, Act 11 is what's earth shattering. But what's different is that it's being done at the statewide level. Those differences were negotiated at a local level for well over, for as long as the public sector unions have been in place. And so we're just not comfortable with tying this into household income for all the reasons that Representative from Berry City said earlier. Thank you.
Member from Berry City, Representative Walz.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to address that issue of dealing with classes of people. I've mentioned that I've negotiated on both sides in the past, and I can only tell you that in 2 different school districts and on both sides, every time we did, when considering benefits, we did consider classes of people, not salary. And so we always lumped teachers into one group and paraprofessionals for another group, and recognizing that the paraprofessionals had considerably less pay than the teachers, we always negotiated, even on the school board side, a lower premium share and a lower out-of-pocket expenses. So there's nothing new to the concept.
Are you ready for the question? Member from Jericho, Representative Till.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. Two previous speakers took a little bit of what I was going to say, and that is that, you know, and when I was the finance chair for the Mount Mansfield Union School District, this goes back 20 years, we did exactly this. We had a much lower rate for the non-licensed employees, and it only went away with the statewide bargaining, and that was, in my opinion, a serious mistake in our first bill. But I'd also like to speak to the idea that the schools should be, the management of the schools should be privy to people's household income. The definition of household income is already in our statutes. And that definition of household incomes includes everybody who's living in the house, whether or not they contribute to the household maintenance. So it would include people's children or people's parents. It would include an unrelated friend roommate who happens to live in the same house. And so what we're saying with this is that if I were one of these employees, I would have to ask for my roommate to provide their financial information that would be sent then to the schools, who don't have anything like the protections that the tax department has for this information. I think this is a really bad idea, and I would urge the body to reject this.
Member from Berry City, Representative Anthony.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would just remind my colleagues something that has already been pointed out. This is at core and solely a modification in collective bargaining theory and law. I would think it would be very inappropriate, as those of you who know have dealt with collective bargaining issues and unionization. The basic cohesion of a unit has to do with a community of interest. That community of interest does not coincide with income, household, or otherwise. I think this would be a tremendous departure from its, if you will, grounding in a revision of bargaining law. Thank you very much.
The question is, shall the report of the Committee on General Housing and Military Affairs be amended as recommended by the member from St. Johnsbury? Member from Northfield, Representative Donahue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I received, as I'm sure many folks did, a significant number of emails, and most of them supported this bill, but most of them also came prior to the bill being amended with this underlying clause that this further amendment is proposing to address. Madam Speaker, may I speak to the underlying bill as well as the amendment?
You may.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I promise the body I will not repeat my analysis in the further debate on the underlying bill, if folks will focus on, and I'll take some breadth of the broader issues in the underlying bill that are touched on in many parts by the proposed amendment. Because there are really, I see it as two issues within the same proposal in the bill that would remove parity of benefits among groups, and do so in the interest of creating the possibility of greater equity, because I think those groups of folks are being looked at related to income. This amendment being proposed addresses that in part. But I think the first issue is the question of, in effect, an income-based approach to access to healthcare benefits. And, I actually really long for the time that we can get to that as a healthcare system. We have gross disparities in access to healthcare today across the country and in Vermont, based on what percentage of people's income they have to pay, whether they're moderate income or high income or low income, except for maybe the very lowest and the very highest. There are really gross disparities on sometimes random factors. And I want to point to one in particular because there's a really strong parallel to what this amendment is trying to address. And it comes within the Affordable Care Act, which was our last, best attempt, if you will, to try to bring more access to healthcare. And what this particular section of the Affordable Care Act says that, you're not allowed to access the healthcare exchange if your employer offers you insurance, unless the insurance that your employer offers is deemed to be unaffordable. And if it meets the threshold to be defined as an unaffordable percentage of your income, then you are allowed to go to the health exchange. The definition of unaffordable only looks at you as an individual and your income and what percentage of your income that health premium or copays cost. And so somebody who has children, somebody who doesn't have a second income in the home and so forth, in that family's income, the premiums could be grossly unaffordable. And yet they are not eligible and are not deemed to be unaffordable. That is known as the family glitch. The family glitch in the Affordable Care Act, which puts healthcare access out of reach for some individuals who are caught in that trap. And Madam Speaker, your healthcare committee has worked in the past to try to find ways to ameliorate that family glitch for people caught in that trap, and have not been able to find a way. There are a lot of reasons, but it's a recognized problem. And I think what the Beck Amendment is precisely trying to do is to prevent the family glitch effect within this underlying proposal. In the effort, I think, to bring equity to access within this construct, I don't think it's been thought out about some of those ramifications that quote unquote lowest paid employees may be helpful to many, may not actually be needed by others, and may be very detrimental to those who might be classified as higher paid. It is a major change, even if it's been done in the context of smaller negotiations within school districts and so forth, as opposed to the current construct. But it is a change for the current construct. It's a change from the more general public approaches, which are not necessarily good approaches, but it's a significant change. The second issue within the proposal, in terms of removing the existing clause in the underlying bill, is if, as a society, if we did better at bringing equity to affordability for people to access health care, then in broader situations, in other situations, it would need to be net neutral. In other words, if we were focused on the percentage of cost burden that health access had on individuals, then there are, in effect, winners and losers. People who have less access because it's a significantly higher percentage of their income would increase their access. Those who do extremely well right now might lose some of that extreme benefit. A business, for example, that was trying to bring greater equity by reducing the percentage that a lower income employee had to pay would need to balance that with what was happening with the high income. Without having that kind of an approach, without having a net equity consideration, the unknown cost drivers could be just absolutely enormous. If you do have that kind of an approach, if it is net neutral, if it is the direction that we should be moving as a society, then it does become a huge negotiating problem because it pits groups one against the other. And I would suggest, Madam Speaker, that is exactly why healthcare reform in our country has been such a challenge and so difficult to achieve. Because everybody's willing to agree that people should have access to healthcare in an affordable way, but not at the expense of those of us who have affordable access. We're not willing to see that change that would require some of us to pay more in order for others to pay less. And this explicitly does not achieve that. And so by its very nature, has to significantly drive huge unknown costs. This amendment, which I will support, helps in perhaps limiting the damage of the underlying concept of removing the parity of benefits clause, because it helps prevent that family glitch damage that can and will occur for some folks. But in fact, it is a huge change. It is a huge healthcare policy issue that's being applied to one particular bargaining process and one group, which is our school system employees, within a brand new statute on how that bargaining occurs, making a shift. I think in terms of a very honorable goal, but given the complexities of this kind of change and reform, I think it's very premature to attempt to do that within this brand new bargaining mechanism. So I do urge support for the amendment, but obviously in speaking to the underlying bill, I think it makes some big mistakes with a not well thought out approach to changing how we address affordability of access to healthcare. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The question is, shall the report of the Committee on General Housing and Military Affairs be amended as recommended by the member from St. Johnsbury? Are you ready for the question? If so, the clerk shall call the roll.
Aki of Middletown Springs.
Yes.
Representative Aki votes yes. Ansel of Calais.
No.
Representative Ansel votes no. Anthony of Berry City. Representative Anthony, you were muted. Anthony of Berry City.
No.
Representative Anthony votes no. Arison of Weathersfield.
No.
Representative Arison votes no. Austin of Colchester.
No.
Representative Austin votes no. Bartholomew of Heartland.
No.
Representative Bartholomew votes no. Bachelor of Derby.
Yes.
Representative Bachelor votes yes. Beck of St. Johnsbury.
Yes.
Representative Beck votes yes. Byrong of Virgins.
No.
Representative Byrong votes no. Black of Essex.
No.
Representative Black votes no. Bloomley of Burlington.
No.
Representative Bloomley votes no. Bach of Chester.
No.
Representative Bach votes no. Bongarts of Manchester.
No.
Representative Bongarts votes no. Boslin of Westminster.
No.
Representative Boslin votes no. Brady of Williston.
No.
Representative Brady votes no. Brennan of Colchester.
Yes.
Representative Brennan votes yes. Briglin of Thetford.
No.
Representative Bringlin votes no. Brown of Richmond.
No.
Representative Brown votes no. Brownell of Pownell.
No.
Representative Brownell votes no. Brumstead of Shelburne.
No.
Representative Brumstead votes no. Burdett of West Rutland.
Yes.
Representative Burdett votes yes. Burke of Brattleboro.
No.
Representative Burke votes no. Burrows of West Windsor.
No.
Representative Burrows votes no. Campbell of St. Johnsbury.
No.
Representative Campbell votes no. Canfield of Fairhaven.
Yes.
Representative Canfield votes yes. Chase of Colchester.
I vote no.
Representative Chase votes no. Christie of Hartford.
No.
Representative Christie votes no. Chena of Burlington.
No.
Representative Chena votes no. Coffee of Guilford.
No.
Representative Coffee votes no. Colburn of Burlington.
No.
Representative Colburn votes no. Colston of Winooski.
No.
Representative Colston votes no. Conlin of Cornwall.
No.
Representative Conlin votes no. Copeland Hansis of Bradford.
No.
Representative Copeland Hansis votes no. Corcoran of Bennington.
No.
Representative Corcoran votes no. Cordis of Lincoln.
No.
Representative Cordis votes no. Coopeley of Rutland City.
Yes.
Representative Coopeley votes yes. Dickinson of St. Albans Town.
Yes.
Representative Dickinson votes yes. Dolan of Essex.
No.
Representative Dolan of Essex votes no. Dolan of Waitsfield.
No.
Representative Dolan of Waitsfield votes no. Donahue of Northfield.
Yes.
Representative Donahue votes yes. Donnelly of Hyde Park.
No.
Representative Donnelly votes no. Durfee of Shaftesbury.
No.
Representative Durfee votes no. Elder of Starksboro. Emmons of Springfield.
No.
Representative Emmons votes no. Fagan of Rutland City.
Yes.
Representative Fagan votes yes. Feltis of Linden.
Yes.
Representative Feltis votes yes. Gannon of Wilmington.
No.
Representative Gannon votes no. Goldman of Rockingham.
No.
Representative Goldman votes no. Goslant of Northfield.
Yes.
Representative Goslant votes yes. Grad of Moortown.
No.
Representative Grad votes no. Graham of Williamstown. Gregoire of Fairfield.
This is Rep. Gregoire, and I vote yes.
Rep. Gregoire votes yes. Hango of Berkshire.
Yes.
Representative Hango votes yes. Harrison of Chittenden.
Yes.
Representative Harrison votes yes. Helm of Fairhaven. Higley of Lowell.
Yes.
Representative Higley votes yes. Hooper of Montpelier.
No.
Representative Hooper of Montpelier votes no. Hooper of Randolph.
No.
Representative Hooper of Randolph votes no. Hooper of Burlington.
I vote no.
Representative Hooper of Burlington votes no. Houghton of Essex.
No.
Representative Houghton votes no. Howard of Rutland City.
No.
Representative Howard votes no. James of Manchester.
No.
Representative James votes no. Jerome of Brandon.
No.
Representative Jerome votes no. Jessup of Middlesex.
No.
Representative Jessup votes no. Kalaki of South Burlington.
No.
Representative Kalaki votes no. Kimball of Woodstock.
No.
Representative Kimball votes no. Kitzmiller of Montpelier.
No.
Representative Kitzmiller Miller votes no. Kornheiser of Brattleboro.
No.
Representative Kornheiser votes no. LeClaire of Berrytown.
Yes.
Representative LeClaire votes yes. Lalonde of South Burlington.
No.
Representative Lalonde votes no. Lanfer of Vergennes.
No.
Representative Lanfer votes no. Lefebvre of Newark.
No.
Representative Lefebvre of Newark votes no. Lefebvre of Orange.
Yes.
Representative Lefebvre of Orange votes yes. Leffler of Enosburg.
Yes.
Representative Leffler votes yes. Lippert of Heinsberg.
No. No.
Representative Lippert votes no. Long of Newfane.
No.
Representative Long votes no. Marcotte of Coventry.
Yes.
Representative Marcotte votes yes. Martell of Waterford.
Yes.
Representative Martell votes yes. Martin of Franklin.
Yes.
Representative Martin votes yes. Maslin of Thetford.
No.
Representative Maslin votes no. Matos of Milton.
Yes.
Representative Matos votes yes. McCarthy of St. Albans City.
No.
Representative McCarthy votes no. McCormick of Burlington. McCoy of Pulteney.
Yes.
Representative McCoy votes yes. McCullough of Williston.
Nay.
Representative McCullough votes no. McFawn of Berrytown.
Yes.
Representative McFawn votes yes. Morgan L. of Milton.
Yes.
Representative Morgan L. votes yes. Representative Morgan M. of Milton.
Yes.
Representative Morgan M. votes yes. Morris of Springfield.
No.
Representative Morris votes no. Morrissey of Bennington.
I certify that I am Representative Mary Morrissey of Bennington, and I vote yes.
Representative Morrissey votes yes. Mrowicki of Putney. Mulvaney Stanek of Burlington.
I vote no.
Representative Mulvaney Stanek votes no. Murphy of Fairfax.
I vote no.
Representative Murphy votes no. Nicole of Ludlow.
No.
Representative Nicole votes no. Nigro of Bennington.
No.
Representative Nigro votes no. Norris of Sheldon.
Yes.
Representative Norris of Sheldon votes yes. Norris of Shoreham.
No.
Representative Norris of Shoreham votes no. Knott of Rutland City.
No.
Representative Knott votes no. Noyes of Wolcott.
No.
Representative Noyes votes no. O'Brien of Tunbridge.
No.
Representative O'Brien votes no. Odie of Burlington.
No.
Representative Odie votes no. Page of Newport City.
Yes.
Representative Page votes yes. Pyala of Londonderry.
No.
Representative Pyala votes no. Pulaski of Milton.
Yes.
Representative Pulaski votes yes. Parsons of Newberry.
Yes.
Representative Parsons votes yes. Partridge of Wyndham.
No.
Representative Partridge votes no. Pat of Worcester.
No.
Representative Pat votes no. Pearl of Danville.
No.
Representative Pearl votes no. Peterson of Clarendon.
Yes.
Representative Peterson votes yes. Pugh of South Burlington.
No.
Representative Pugh votes no. Rachelson of Burlington.
No.
Representative Rachelson votes no. Redmond of Essex.
No.
Representative Redmond votes no. Rogers of Waterville.
No.
Representative Rogers votes no. Rosenquist of Georgia.
Yes.
Representative Rosenquist votes yes. Satkowitz of Randolph.
No.
Representative Satkowitz votes no. Savage of Swanton.
Yes.
Representative Savage votes yes. Shy of Middlebury.
No.
Representative Shy votes no. Sherman of Stowe.
Yes.
Representative Sherman votes yes. Seymour of Sutton.
No.
Representative Seymour votes no. Shaw of Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Representative Shaw votes yes. Sheldon of Middlebury.
No.
Representative Sheldon votes no. Sibilia of Dover.
No. No.
Representative Sibilia votes no. Sims of Craftsbury.
No.
Representative Sims votes no. Small of Winooski.
No.
Representative Small votes no. Smith of Derby.
Yes.
Representative Smith of Derby votes yes. Smith of New Haven.
Yes.
Representative Smith of New Haven votes yes. Squirrel of Underhill.
No.
Representative Squirrel votes no. Stebbins of Burlington.
No.
Representative Stebbins votes no. Stevens of Waterbury.
No.
Representative Stevens votes no. Strong of Albany.
Yes.
Representative Strong votes yes. Sullivan of Dorset.
No.
Representative Sullivan votes no. Supernaught of Barnard.
No.
Representative Supernaught votes no. Taylor of Colchester.
No.
Representative Taylor votes no. Terenzini of Rutland Town.
I certify that I am Representative Terenzini of Rutland Town and vote yes.
Representative Terenzini votes yes. Till of Jericho.
No with explanation.
Representative Till votes no. Tolino of Brattleboro.
No.
Representative Tolino votes no. Toof of St. Albans Town.
Yes.
Representative Toof votes yes. Townsend of South Burlington.
No.
Representative Townsend votes no. Troiano of Stannard.
I vote no.
Representative Troiano votes no. Vihovsky of Essex.
No.
Representative Vihovsky votes no. Waltz of Berry City.
No.
Representative Waltz votes no. Webb of Shelburne.
No.
Representative Webb votes no. White of Bethel.
No.
Representative White of Bethel votes no. White of Hartford.
No.
Representative White of Hartford votes no. Whitman of Bennington.
No.
Representative Whitman votes no. Williams of Granby.
Yes.
Representative Williams votes yes. Wood of Waterbury.
No.
Representative Wood votes no. Yakavoni of Morristown.
No.
Representative Yakavoni votes no. Jan Tochka of Charlotte.
No.
Representative Jan Tochka votes no. Elder of Starksboro.
No.
Representative Elder votes no. Graham of Williamstown.
Hey.
Could we hear a Graham of Williamstown? Helm of Fairhaven. McCormick of Burlington. Rowicki of Putney.
I certify this is Representative Merwicki of Putney and I vote no.
Representative Rowicki votes no.
For purposes of explanation, member from Jericho, Representative Till.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I vote no. Household income includes the income of unrelated individuals living in the same household. It makes absolutely no sense that the income of an unrelated individual should be considered in determining a person's health care insurance premiums.
And when the clerk is ready, will she please read the results of the vote?
Madam Speaker, those voting yes, 43. Those voting no, 103.
The nays appear to have it. The nays do have it, and you have declined to amend the committee report. Now, the question is, shall the bill be amended as recommended by the Committee on General, Housing, and Military Affairs? Are you ready for the question? Member from Dover, Representative Sibilia.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we've heard discussion today about equity for school employees. We have heard discussion today about equity and access to healthcare. I fear we have forgotten the system that we are talking about, which is the education system, which serves our children. Madam Speaker, this body is aware, I believe, that this legislature asked for a report on how we were doing in terms of providing resources to our students if we were fulfilling our constitutional duty to provide equity of access to resources. And we have a report in hand saying that we are not, and that we need to act on that. In that light of that, Madam Speaker, I would like to interrogate the presenter of this bill.
The member from Berry City is interrogated.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, can you tell me how will this bill address the known inequities that we have across all of our school districts in terms of—
Point of order, Madam Speaker. This is the member from Burlington.
Member from Burlington, what is your point of order?
I don't believe that this discussion has to do with the subject matter of the bill.
We will take a brief recess while I consult with the—
I'm sorry, Madam Speaker. Oh.
Madam Speaker?
Member from Northfield?
Madam Speaker, in the past when we have a question on the floor and there's a consultation about it, members have the ability to go up and argue their point, but also to listen. Is that available for this point?
Member from Northfield, it is. We have not done this yet before, so I want to consult with the clerk to make sure that we have it ready. So if you'll give me 1 moment, the House will stand in recess for 1 moment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Will the House please come to order? We will now be addressing the point of order at the virtual podium, which is this breakout room. So if you'd like to listen to the deliberations, you can join the breakout room. Otherwise, we will be in recess until the